Okay, reminder, your grade's floor is frozen, meaning it can't go down, but you can bring it up. So again, I printed out your grade sheet. Okay, so you know that you have till Friday to get it where you want it. If you were not passing, I let your parents know, and then you want to make sure that you turn in anything that's a 1 that's missing, do any corrections that I'll give you that you're not going to take home and you give right back to me. We're doing a whole week of, as we're moving on, also catching up. Okay, so this is the week to get it done. It should be very clearly communicated. Again, if you do nothing between now and Friday, the grade you get is the grade you deserve. I'm giving you opportunities. Okay, so some of us need to do corrections still after the notes. We can get to that. We'll have some time tomorrow too. We're going to work on it during the week. I'm telling you, the only day I'm here for tutoring is Friday morning. Do not wait until Friday morning to do everything all at once. It's not going to work. Yes? Is it possible instead of printing old stuff, to just have new stuff? What do you mean? Like for an old test? No, I mean instead of working on old stuff and correcting that, you can just give us new stuff for it. Are you saying that's what we're not doing? Because that's literally what we're doing. This is the new thing we're going to do today. Is that what you want? Okay. I don't know how to make sense of what you said. Okay. But you will get something new if that's what you want. Okay. Now, let's graph this. Let me pull this over here. Okay. Now, we want to graph this. Now, there's a symbol for this. Hey, focus, no headphones. Okay, there's a symbol for this. Let me show you how to do this. If you go to a new graph, okay, if you literally type A, B, S, and then parentheses X, okay, it's going to look just like that. Abs, parentheses X. ABS stands for absolute value. You should have written that down on your objective for today, right? The blue sentence, absolute value. If you hit enter, it should look like a V, right? It looks like it's going down to the origin and it bounces up and it goes up again, okay? One thing about absolute value is that it's not negative, the parent function that is, okay? It stays positive, it's always optimistic, okay? Did you finish? Turn it in? Okay. Now, here's another one. Here's another way you can do it. If you hit, let's hit tab. Another way that you can do absolute value. Do y'all see this like book thing over here underneath delete? No? Okay, well there it is. If you hit the book thing, the very first option is ABS. That's another way to, I don't know if that really saves you that many button pressing, okay, but that's another way to do it. And then let's do tab. I think another way, if you hit next to the book, there's this thing, I think it's called definition. So under delete, the one on the left, and then on the very right, it kind of looks like a, I don't know, vertical lines with a rectangle. If you put an X inside of those vertical lines, that's another way of writing absolute value. So again, today we're doing things with vertical lines, absolute value, okay? So that's what it looks like. For your warm-up, did you sketch it? Did you draw your axes? Did you draw your axes and then put your absolute value graph? Did you? With the axis, the X and Y axis. Let's see. Proud of you. Yeah, absolute value of X. Absolute value, yes. Okay, so that's your notes. Sorry, that's your warm-up, I should say. So now we're going to talk about these notes. 3.1. Let me brush nails or what?
I didn't get that square.
All right. So, by the way, if you weren't here Friday, make sure you turn in last week's warm-ups.
the rectangle shape there. You don't know the rectangle. The one? Yeah.
Okay, here we go. So we're going to talk about absolute value for these notes. I want everyone to have your headphones out, not in your ears, please, and listen in, looking up here, unless you're testing. If you're testing, do that first, please, okay? In the back. Okay, so here we go. For the rest of us, sorry, this is our learning objective. We're going to need to know what A, H, and K stand for and how to transform or change an absolute value function, the very graph you saw earlier. Okay, so here we go. This is an absolute value function. We already saw it on our warm-up. This is also called the parent function because everything originates from this parent. Okay, the parent usually goes through the origin, and this one does go through the origin. Okay. That's just something to know. Now you can write this down somewhere in your blank space. You might already know this, hopefully, but the vertex is the highest or the lowest point on the graph of an absolute value function. Okay. So if your absolute value looks like our warm-up, that would be the low point. This is my vertex. If it's upside down, that high point would also be a vertex. Okay. So again, you don't have to write this. You can if you want. This will always be on Google Classroom if you want to refer back to it. And then axis of symmetry. Do y'all know what symmetry is? What is it? Okay, something that's the same on both sides so much that if you could fold it and it would be the exact same, right? It's like a mirror image split down the middle. So an axis of symmetry, if I have a absolute value, the axis of symmetry, I'm going to do a dashed line, cuts it right down the middle, okay? And the axis of symmetry has an equation, right? So we're going to talk about that in a little bit. So again, if you wrote this down, cool. If not, no biggie. I'm going to move on. Anyone still need this? Okay. Now, here's an example. There's the parent function of the absolute value in blue, and in that green is the axis of symmetry. Okay. Now I'm going to be impressed. Who can tell me the equation of the axis of symmetry here? So 0, 0 is the vertex. That's a point on it. But there's an equation with an equal sign for that vertical line. So close. X equals 0. Very good. I am impressed. Vertical lines are always x equals, and if it goes through the 0 point, it's x equals 0. So FYI, we're doing this in algebraic reasoning right now, but anytime you have a vertical line, it's x equals, and then whatever number, it hits on the x axis. Okay, this is also just review, Algebra 1, algebraic reasoning review. Now, this is the form of our absolute value functions. Do you see how we've added an A, an H, and a K? Now, at the bottom here, it says, remember that H, comma, K is the vertex. It might be cut off on the video, but anyways, can y'all write that somewhere on your page? H, comma, K is the vertex. Now, you don't have to write all this down because I'm going to explain it right now. But just remember, H, comma, K is the vertex. You can, but we're doing brand new stuff that I want you to know. So if you got to go ahead. Yeah. So I don't take the pass. Now, A, literally, the A, this number in front of the vertical line, in front of the absolute value. Okay? There's two things you need to know about it. If A is negative, does everyone hear me say this? If A is negative, it's going to reflect across the x-axis. So instead of looking like a V going up, it's going to look like a caret. Like, you know, the caret symbol on the calculator? Like an A or something, okay? So it flips down if it's a negative A. Okay, now next thing. If A is greater than 1, it's going to make it stretch up. Think about greater, stretching up. Watch my hands. If I stretch up, is it getting skinnier or wider? Or thinner, whatever word you want to use. Okay, it's getting closer together, right? So it's vertically stretching means it looks kind of taller, skinnier. And then if A is less than 1, like 0.5, 1/3, that's going to make it do this. Think of like I don't know, like an accordion. It's smushing it down, it's getting wider, okay? Vertically compressing it makes it look wider. It's opening up more, okay? Now, this is very important. This is so important, I'm going to make a big deal about it. So is everyone hearing me say this and making a big deal about this, okay? H has what in front of it? A negative sign, right? It's a negative H. That means that it's opposite, okay? Now, how many of y'all in Algebra 1 or geometry or algebraic reasoning or whatever have ever heard this phrase, insiders lie? I'm here to teach y'all for the first time. Very cool. Okay, now check it out. Usually this has to do with parentheses. So think about these vertical lines as if they were parentheses, okay? Now, I'm going to tell you a little story, okay? Y'all like watching movies? Okay. Now, how many of y'all have ever heard of the James Bond 007 movies? Okay, head nods. So maybe you've heard of it. Those of you who know who that is, James Bond is a what? What? A spy. Okay, so he's a spy. Now, here's the deal. I want you to imagine this scenario. James Bond, okay, is trying to get intel on you. So who does he want to get, how will he get dirt on you? Well, there's a house here. And guess who's at that house? Your ex. Ooh. And the only way that Mr. 007 spy agent whatever can get into this house, okay, is if he, what? No, that's not how he gets in. He can ask to go to the restroom, but it's not going to work right now because we're in the middle of notes, you know what I'm saying? 007 wouldn't do that, you know what I'm saying? So let me finish my thought. So if a double agent, if a spy is trying to get and infiltrate into anywhere, they have to lie about who they are, lie about why they're there for, what they're going to do, who they are. Okay, I already said that. Basically, spies are liars, and they want to talk to your ex, who might also be a liar. Who knows? All right. Well, anyways, so here's the deal. When you think of inside of a parentheses or inside of a vertical line, whatever number is inside is a lie. Okay. Spies get in by lying. X's are on the inside. They're lying. It's just a whole bunch of lying. Lies for days. So does everyone understand that this number inside of the vertical lines is opposite? It's a lie because insiders lie. X's lie, and that's the whole story. All right. Cool. We're never going to forget that, hopefully. But K on the outside, no lie. K is cool. Okay. K for cool. K-O-O-L. Very cool. All right. Or back in the middle school, girls would spell cool like this, like Jewel, but it's cool. Yes. Right. Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly it. So when we talk about the vertex, it's going to be opposite because insiders lie. Thank you. Now, next step. This is not on your notes. I'm just going over this as a review, okay? These are 3 types of transformations. If you write this down, cool. You don't have to because this should be review. Translation is when you shift something left, right, up, or down. Have you heard of that before? Translate, just shifting it. Dilation, okay, if you've ever had dilated eyes, okay, bigger or smaller. It just makes it big or small. That's what dilation is, changes size. And then reflection, obviously they flip, a reflection, okay? Now, we're going to move on to the next one. This explains translations, okay? So look at that. You have your H and your K. H is a lie, right? Insiders lie. So whichever way it says, you go the opposite direction. K, you go the actual direction. Just remember, H is horizontal, H for horizontal, and K is vertical, K, all right? After we finish these notes, if you can wait. Try. I don't want to shortchange you this amazing presentation. All right, so now we have absolute value is the vertical lines next to the x. Now, let's see what you remember. Which way do you think this is going to shift? Downwards is not correct. Sorry. Why? Why? It's not. It's not a negative though. Can you put that away? Put that away. Okay. So we said, what about insiders? Insiders lie is what I said. So insiders lie. So that +2, really think of it as a -2, right? And if it's horizontal, which way is negative? Left. Okay. So again, you would normally think right. It's a lie. It's left 2. Okay. So here's what it looks like. Boom. This is very important. It's very easy to get this messed up. So again, insiders lie. Next one. What about if it looks like this? Well, it did it all in one step, but you can see there, right? -2 is a lie because it's inside. So it's going to be right 2. It's going to go to the right, +2. Okay. What about vertically here? So see how this is a little bit different. If I have an absolute value of x and there's a +2 after it, which way do you think that shifts it? Okay, up, because k is not a lie, right? Outsiders don't lie, and it's vertical, so +2 is up 2. And then what about -2? -2 is going to go down because it's not a lie, because it's not inside, okay? So again, insiders lie horizontally, outsiders don't lie vertically. All right, now, real quick, reflections. Let's see what y'all remember. What has to change about A to be a reflection? What needs to go right here in front? A negative sign. Please remember, negative sign flips it down. You got to know that, okay? So how would I graph this differently? It would look like this. Cool? It could be a negative by itself. It could be a -2. It could be a -0.5. Whatever it is, that negative flips it downward, okay? Okay, and then let's talk about dilations. The stretch and compress. Okay. If A is greater than 1, it's going to make it narrower. If it's A is less than 1, like a 0.5 or a 2/3, it's going to make it wider. So you tell me, 2x, is that going to vertically stretch or compress? What do you think? Vertically stretch, and is it going to look skinnier or wider? What do you think? Skinnier, because you're, think of like holding like pizza dough, and you're just, it's going to make it narrower. Now, also check this out. If it's 2, think about 2/1. That number in front is kind of like a slope, up 2/1. What about this one? 1/2. Is that a vertical stretch or compress? Hey, vertical what? Compress. And it's going to look wider. Okay, it's going to look like this. If you look at the slope of that line, 1/2 makes sense. Up 1/2. Say what? Right. Up 1/2 is a slope. That works out. Vertical compression, like we said, everything's good. Now, this is actually on your notes now. Okay, is everyone with me? 3.1 notes. So, these are some steps on the left side on how to do this. But let's try this together. Ready? Now, first things first, we want to describe the transformation. So, insider is a 3. Which way is that shifting? I want to hear some more voices. I can't hear you. Okay, over here. What do y'all think? What does that cluster do? Up, down, left, right. Why is it left? Okay, it's a lie. Insiders lie, so that's a left 3. So go and write that down, left 3. What about that -4? Which way is that? Okay, down 4. If you wanted to, you could graph that in your calculator. So like check it. Okay, you'd have to put ABS x plus 3 and then -4 after the parentheses. You could graph it in your calculator to check it if you're not sure. But are we done? We're not done. Do you want to help me do the next 2? So I don't have to like, when I have to remind you, it takes more time. So left 3, down 4. Ready? Left 3, down 4. Put a point there. It'll be quick, relatively. So go and write h comma k. and I want you to tell me what is h, what is k. So remember, h is a lie. What's h? -3. K is not a lie. What is k? -4. Now, this hasn't been reflected because it's not a negative a, so I'm just going to draw a regular absolute value. Up 1 over 1. Up 1 over 1. Okay, so go and put some points there. You do it to the right and you do it to the left. It looks like a V. Just do your best to draw a straight line. I forgot to put out the rulers, but then again, I'm not really interested in all the helicopters that get made, so, you know. I do not. Well, I hope you can fly one day, just not in my class. Now, that's example 1. Is that too hard? Not too bad? Flip it over. Let's do example 2 real quick. All right, the first thing I see on that equation is a 2. It's outside in the front. So what is that going to change about it? Only if it's negative, but this is a positive 2. So it's going to be one of those vertical stretch or compress. Is it stretch or compress? Vertical stretch. Okay, so let's write that down. Vertical stretch by 2, factor of 2. And then that 1, that plus 1, is that shifting up, down, left, or right? What do you think? It would be left if it was inside the lines. Left and right is inside the lines. So after the lines is up or down. So yeah, again, inside here is left and right. Outside here is up and down. Up 1, very good. Because it's not a lie, because it's outside, right? Right? You're supposed to be helping me out. Now, notice, does it shift left or right? There's nothing inside the vertical lines that goes left or right, so it stays at 0. So let's write our h comma k. What's my h if it doesn't move left or right? Which is 0, comma, and what's my k? 1. K is not a liar. 0, 1. Put a point there at 0, 1. Now, my a equals 2. The number in front is 2, right? Think of that as 2 over 1. That's going to be your rise over run slope, okay? So whenever you have a 2, put it over 1. So I'm going to go up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. Both directions. Up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. Hey. Hey. I don't want you to miss this. Okay, do your best. You should have a vertically stretched by 2 absolute value function that's moved up 1. That plus 1 is up 1 because it's outside of the parentheses, okay? All right, any questions on example 2? Using invisible ink or what? Dang. All right, example 3. Ready? Gonna help? All right, so what does that negative in front mean? Okay, there's a vertical stretch, but before that it's a what? Reflection. The negative sign means it's reflected. Has everyone heard me say that? Negative sign means reflection. So reflect over x-axis. And it's a what? Vertical what? Vertical stretch by a factor of 3. Okay, now, inside the vertical lines is a liar, horizontally, outside is vertical and not a liar. So which way is this shifting? 5, which direction? It would be left if it wasn't a lie, right? So inside's a lie, think about it like a +5, so that's right 5. Shifting it right 5, and then what about 6? Which way is that? Sure. Okay, so remember, outside is not a lie, and it's up or down. So it's going to be up 6. Okay, +6 is up when it comes to vertical. Okay, inside lie, outside no lie. Not everything, just on the inside. I know I know. So just the X value, just the H value. So what's my new HK? What do y'all think? So insiders lie, what's my H value there? Okay, +5, and what's my K value? No, because insiders lie, right? So 5 is good, and then 6 is my K. So go, everybody, put a point at 5,6. 5, 6. When I do my A value, which is -3, remember, put it over 1. You're going to rise -3 over 1. We know from the negative sign it's going downwards, so it's down 3, right 1. You can also do to the left. Okay, it is symmetrical. And then you can make your best straight lines here. Okay, now on the assignment, you're going to be doing that. You're going to be identifying, plotting. Just remember all these different transformations. They're on here. We did some examples. I can help you. You can work with a friend as long as you're working on your own. Okay, so we're going to get started on this assignment, 3.1. If you don't finish tomorrow. And some of y'all need to do corrections, and I'll show you that here in a second.